to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice.
The silent majority is silent no more.
These are people who work hard but no longer have a voice. I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's Friday, and we are just getting ready for an exciting weekend on Tubos America. I'm so glad you're joining us. And listen, give us some hearts today. I've got a special guest today. Joining me today is something you've never seen on Tubos America before. It is Lucha Libre, and we call him the Luchador. Why? Because he fights and he wrestles for faith, family, and liberty. So, welcome, Luchador.
What's up, Bianca, lady in red?
How are you?
I'm good. Just out here doing what I do every day, trying to beat down the forces of evil that are trying to take over our country.
That's right. Luchador, we're going to talk about a lot of things today. Something, and I know you're just going to jump right in there with me, but you're right now on the ground of the swamp. Like, we talk about the swamp. And the swamp is self-draining, and I know that you've been a really supporter of our President Trump from the very beginning. Nobody has ever seen you before, and this is why we have you masked, because you have some intel. You always have some intel. You follow what's going on. So tell us a little bit. Give us a spin on, first of all, let's ask you, why are you luchador? Why are you conservative? And why did you even bother to support our president? Give us your spin on it.
Well, look. First of all, as all Americans need to be conservative. Our country was founded on conservative values. 99.9% of the world lives under the progressive liberal ideology. And you know what? The president is right. Everybody wants to come here. Why? Because we are still the shining beacon, the city on the hill. This is why everybody wants to come here. I don't see many people, even all these liberal elites that said that they were going to leave the country if Trump got elected. Have you heard of one leave yet? Have you?
Not one.
That's right.
Not one.
That's
not
right.
One.
They're all still here, man. Why in the hell are they all still here? That's what I want to know. That goes to show you that Trump is right. All these other countries are a bunch of, whole countries. I don't know if this thing is, I don't want to break up your FCC and whatever license, man, but I tell you what, that's exactly why they haven't left, because they know what Trump said is right, what our great president said is right, that these other countries are a bunch of whole countries.
So luchador, we gotta tame down on that talk there, because we got maybe some children watching luchador.
I know. I'm sorry, but
the wrestlers.
Truth,
You're like an idol. You're like an idol out there in the Mexican and the Hispanic and Latino communities. They look up to you. So
I'm not an idol. I'm just a voice.
You're a voice.
The true idols are the guys in uniform. The true heroes are those men and women that put their lives on the line each and every day for our great country. Everybody. But you know what? But I am going to say something, Bianca. Besides our brave men and women in uniform, besides them, they're the bravest of our country.
Yeah.
Then the next bravest are minorities who are conservatives, because we get attacked every day, and you know that, Bianca. You know that. I'm talking about our African American brothers. I'm talking about our Latino brothers. I'm talking all of us minorities that are conservatives. We're the second bravest group out there, because we're attacked every day for maintaining our values. And you know the saddest part about Latinos is we live under conservative values, but then we turn around and vote completely antithetical to our own belief systems. How can we do that? Why do we do that? That's something that we need to just confront and really, I don't know what it's going to take, but it's just astounding that Latinos live conservative values, hard working, believe in the family, believe in faith, but then when they go out and vote, they vote completely opposite of those values. We got to change that. We got to change that. Otherwise, we're just a bunch of fakes. Otherwise, everything we tell our children are lies.
That's right.
We need to first face ourselves, look in the mirror, and say, hey, man, you know what? I'm proud of my values. I'm proud of what my parents taught me. I'm proud of what my grandparents taught me. I'm going to uphold the sacrifices that they all made for us to be in this country now. And you know what? And I'm going to change, and I'm going to make sure that my children understand this great land that we have and go out there and vote the right way.
That's right. That's right. You know what, Luchador, you hit it. I mean, that is something that I tell you, you're a patriot, and we have many patriots out there. And you know what, Latinos, we are being courageous. We had a march for Trump out in Austin, Texas, and you should have seen the number of minorities that were at this march. Patriots loving their country because of family, because our faith, and because we love the liberty the freedom that we have in this country. You know, Latinos have the highest enrolling numbers for our armed forces, as you know. And so one of the things is we saw that there's more minorities coming out to defend this country on the forefront. So you know what? You're right. They are brave and they are courageous. And I just applaud them, and I applaud people like you because you're out there on the street and you don't just walk the walk, you talk the talk. And so that's important that people listen to you and hear you. I want to talk to you a little bit more about how long have you been a conservative? Have you been a conservative all your life, or did you just wake up one day?
No, I don't know if my family is just, well, no, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, my family maintains its values and lives its values at home, at work, and in the public square. So guess what? My grandfather was an Eisenhower Republican. My dad was a Republican. I'm a Republican, and my children are completely diehard. Well, I don't know if we can call ourselves Republican anymore, especially after everything I'm seeing, but we're conservative. We're conservative. And I became an adult during the second Reagan administration. And let me tell you, it was the proudest moment of my life to vote for that great, great president. And you got to understand that, as an adolescent, as a child and adolescent, I grew up during the melee of, the Carter administration. Oh, my God. And you got to understand that, as a proud American, my grandfather and my dad and my uncle, they were all just staunch patriots and always taught me that nobody messes with the United States. Then all of a sudden we get this moron Carter. And then the first thing he does, he's bending over and kowtowing to everybody and anybody. And then we had that whole Iranian terrorist thing where they started taking our people hostage. And I remember asking my dad, I thought nobody messed with us. And my dad couldn't answer, because even my dad couldn't believe what was happening to our nation before our very eyes. Wow. And then the great man, Ronald Reagan, came, and boy, did he turn that around. Just like Trump is. After 8 devastating... You know what? Here's the other thing. You want to talk about the dumbing down of America? I never thought America would ever be so stupid as to vote somebody that was worse than Jimmy Carter. Well, we did it twice in a row with Obama. And that man completely kowtowed for 8 years. And now here comes President MAGA, making America great again. And look what he's done. Look what he's done in just a year. He's got the entire world once again understanding the power that is the United States, and more importantly, the value that we bring to stability in this nation. The only people that are complaining are those people, or those elitists who want to keep it unstable, because they're the ones that want to keep themselves in power, because they believe in one thing and one thing only, and that's this, that our freedoms come from the creation, whereas Americans believe that our freedoms come from the Creator, and that's the difference.
That's the difference. You nailed it right there. That's, our President Trump is what they call the wrecking ball that just shook up America and has woken the sleeping giant. He's made people like me become unsilenced and finally speaking out about why we as Hispanics are conservative. So you're absolutely right. See, unlike you, yes, I was born and raised Democrat because that's all we knew in South Texas. Everybody is Democrat. You vote tradition. You don't ask questions. You just get told that you're Democrat because that's the party for the Hispanics. It's for the common people until you finally grow up, get educated, and then you finally, get married, have a family, buy a house, and then you start to learn the reality of things. And you go, wait a minute, why is the government taking all of my money? I work hard for this. Then you start asking questions. And then, yes, of course, during the Obama years, man, I'm telling you, my mother, who was 70 years old, came and said, we no longer are Democrats. You have to start voting Republican. The Democrat Party left us. And that's when we started voting Republican for McCain. And then Romney came along and we voted for him. And then, they both lost to this Obama, we call him. And speaking of Obama, did you see Joe Arpaio? He had a press conference, and they have actually an Obama supporter detective analyzed the document that was presented on Obama's birth certificate, and they have found 9 fraudulent points in it. And they're sending it to the DOJ and to President Trump. What do you think about that? Isn't that explosive?
I mean, it's very explosive, but at the same time, the entire Obama administration was fraudulent.
Right.
It's one thing to do something when a man's in power, but now you know what? We gotta, and I get it. I understand that a lot of people are upset because this man could have and probably did become president under false pretenses, lying about things. But my God, we lived through 8 years of consistent lies. And the worst part about it is we had a collusive media backing up all those lies and never questioning anything. Yeah. Anything that was ever said. In fact, they were just a puppet. You talk about a puppeteer. That guy was the greatest puppeteer ever because he had his hand right up the of the media telling them what to say. You know what I mean? But here's the deal. Look, here's the deal. Here's what we got to talk about, and here's what we got to focus on. Let's stop looking backwards and start looking forward.
That's right. Okay? All right, bring it, luchador, bring it.
But this, and if we're gonna look forward, we gotta look around too. Okay, don't look backwards, but you gotta see because you don't want to trip. Right? Let me tell you what's going on right now. Let me tell you what's going on.
Tell us.
There is a blatant conspiracy against our president right now going on. It's not only the Democrats. Obviously, they're the greatest domestic threat that this country has ever seen. We're seeing it right now with the Democratic Party. Okay? In fact, they need to change their name from the Democratic Party, and they need to just go back and label themselves what they are as the Communist Socialist Party, because that's what they really are. That's what they really are. Okay? And everything they believe is 100% against the Constitution, which is why they hate the Constitution, which is why they want to change it. Okay? Right. Because there's only 2 things standing in their way. One is the Constitution, and the other is the fact that Americans believe that our freedoms were granted by the Creator. That's it. That is it. Those are the only 2 things. The faith community of this nation is a bastion. But you know what? We got to unite. But here's what I want to really talk about is it's not only the Democrats that are collusive and trying to undermine our president. It's the very swamp creatures of the establishment GOP. That's what the other one is, the establishment. Wow. The establishment. I'm not talking about the brave Republicans, true conservatives that are out there. I'm talking about the snakes in the grass. Okay? That's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that why are we losing every special election after everything that this president has done? Why did we just lose Pennsylvania's special election? Why did we lose Alabama?
That's right. I want to talk about that. I do want to talk about that. What is going, Luchador, from what you're seeing on the ground, give us your spin on this. Tell us what you're thinking, because I have thoughts. I have thoughts, but I want to hear it from you.
I'm going to tell you, I have that. Look, I'm going to tell you something. It starts at the top of the RNC. All right. It starts at the chairwoman, unfortunately, who is a niece of Mitt Romney, who is an establishment elitist, who hates the fact that an outsider became president. Not only that, this outsider has done more in pushing conservative policies in 1 year than every Republican candidate, every Republican president has even thought of doing. And they hate the fact that he's done it and he's an outsider. And that's why they hate the man. That's
Luchador.
what they hate them at. But it starts at the RNC.
You know what you're saying here, right? You know what you're saying. I mean,
they've collected more money. Look, let's talk about facts, okay? The RNC, because of Trump, has collected more money, more donations than ever before. And what are they doing with that money? Why aren't they out helping those candidates that are pro-Trump? You know why? Because they're anti-Trump. They're anti-Trump. You need to ask the RNC chairwoman, you need to ask her, how many pro-Trump people do you have in leadership? How many pro-Trump people do you have on your team?
Wow.
And how many anti-Trump people do you have? Why are you not hiring pro-Trump people? Instead, why do you keep hiring establishment people? Those are the questions that need to be asked.
Ooh.
And we as conservatives need to, right now, because of what she's done, because of the fact that she is losing every election on purpose, we need to demand that she get fired.
Wow. Whoa.
Until that happens, until that happens, let's be honest, until that happens, our president is fighting on so many fronts.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have to fight on the home front within his own party. But because we have anti-Trump establishment,
wow,
he's fighting in his own home. Think about how sad that is.
I know. Well, I saw yesterday Diamond and Silk. I don't know if you follow them. Diamond and Silk, huge Trump supporters. And Diamond and Silk were kind of along the same lines with you. They were questioning where the RNC and the GOP was and why they weren't supporting our president.
Oh, I see it every day.
That was tough. I thought, whoa, what are we doing here? What's going on? So that's why I wanted to bring you on the show today, because I know that Luchador, you're out there in the middle of it, and you hear things, you're right there. So I'm just going to tell you,
nobody is more blind, no person is more blind than he who will not see.
Wow.
I can see it clear as day. Why and what is going on? I want to know, what are they doing? From what my sources are telling me, the RNC is, quote unquote, spending money on hiring block walkers. Block walkers? In the era of instant communication, in the era of consistent communication with people in all sorts of different levels, and they're putting all of the money from the donors, all of the money that they're receiving because of President Trump, and they're just hiring block walkers? And exactly when and how and where are you going to put these block walkers? Why didn't you put them out there in Alabama to maintain a GOP seat? Why didn't you put them in Pennsylvania to maintain a GOP seat? I mean, come on. You know what? Do you know what the dictionary says about insanity? It's doing the same thing and expecting a different result. We need to update ourselves, and we need to start reaching out into those minority communities that are dying for the message of freedom. Why aren't they doing that?
I don't know. That's a good question. But let me ask you something. Just working campaigns, I do know that it's important to block walk. I do know that. I'm not saying it's
not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that getting out the vote is not important.
Exactly.
But the thing is,
I want you to get down to the nitty-gritty and why you're going there. Why do you think it's a waste of money and time to do that? Give it.
Let me tell you why. Because I have been in those strategic meetings where they discuss nothing but block walking. And at the same time, guess what they do? They go into those neighborhoods where the people would have already gone out and voted conservative, but they do so they can go back to their donors and say, hey, look what we did. We got the vote out. The vote would have gotten out anyway. Why don't they go out into those communities where we can literally make a change? where we can literally create new conservative voters. Why aren't they making that kind of outreach? This is the biggest hidden secret of all of these conservative groups, is they're literally going into those communities that would have voted conservative anyway. All right, and then they go back to the donors, and then they go back to the donors and look what we did. And then when they lose on purpose, so they can go back to the donors and say, oh, we need more money. Look, there was an article that was called the Flight 93 election. Please invite everybody, every conservative, every true Trump supporter to go read that article.
What's it called? Say it again.
It's called the Flight 93 election. If you really want to get your eyes opened to what is going on, read that article. It will change your perspective of things. It will make you challenge your own GOP party in your communities that are run by these establishment people, that are run and realistically, they're put into these offices. They're put into, and I'm talking about at the GOP level, I'm talking about that the GOP offices. They're put into these offices not to win, but to lose.
That's what this article talks about.
You've read it. Right, Bianca? I introduced you to that article, and I know you read it, Bianca. I want you to tell me, did it change your perspective? Did it change your outview on everything that is going on, your outlook on everything that is going on? Did it or did it not?
It did, because it made me think about, and it made me, I've always been an outsider looking in, trying to figure out. I'm a problem solver by nature. So I always look at, why is it, when I study the Democrat congressional districts that have been held by Democrats for 20 plus years, and I'm like, why is it that we haven't been able to flip that when there's 70% of the Hispanics living in those districts? Why? Because we're conservative by nature. But then I started thinking about that article, and I said, there's something there.
Exactly.
So I wanted to bring you on the show because you've had a lot of insight, and I know it's not just an opinion. Not opinion for you. It's because you just said it. You've actually sat in on meetings where they talk about it.
I've sat, I've heard, I've seen. Not only that, look, they will never go into these minority communities because they don't even want to try. Well, let me tell you something. Your conservative base is dying out. They're dying of old age. Let's be honest, can we? They're dying of old age. Meanwhile, we're doing zero to reach out to those communities that were affected the most by the 8 dismal years of Obama's economy, which were the minority communities. Good Lord, what a squandered opportunity. Would you not agree, Bianca, that we could have gone out there? Let me tell you, Hispanics, African-American communities were hit the hardest because Obama and the Democrats wanted them to get on welfare. They wanted them to get on
enablers.
Welfare. So on purpose, they make sure that those communities were hurt the most. Okay? To completely 100% addict them to government.
And Trump is reversing that. Now we've got the lowest unemployment in the Black and the Hispanic community.
That's right. And how much outreach has been done into those communities to champion that? Zero. To go out there and champion this, zero.
So let me ask you, because you've seen it, you've heard it, you've been involved in it. What would you do to make it different? What would you do? Because you're a problem solver like me. What would you do?
It's very simple. You just have to go on into these communities, all right? And you got to talk to them in their language. And their language is not Spanish. That's the biggest misconception that people make. It's not Spanish. You need to talk to them in their language. And their language is based on 3 things. You need to talk about the family, you need to talk about faith, and you need to talk about education. If you talk to them in that language, talking about those 3 things, guess what? They will listen to you. But you don't go in there and start talking about things that matter not to these people. You need to talk to them about the importance of family values and how those family values are being 100% attacked each and every day by Democrat policies. You need to go in there and talk about their strongly rooted faith and talk about how the entire faith community is being attacked by who? Democratic policies. You need to go in there and you need to talk about the importance of education and how our children are no longer being educated, they're being indoctrinated. And how the educational system is forcing bilingual education on our kids, so when they graduate, they don't know Spanish or English. Those poor children can't communicate within a 5-block radius of their neighborhood because they haven't been educated. Instead, they've been indoctrinated. And this is what you tell them, because who established those policies? Democrats. This is how we have to fight, and this is why we all need to become luchadores de libertad.
I love it. I just love it. You're on fire, luchador. You're on fire. Just the truth. That's what Tu Voz America is. You know, we operate under Bill Mitchell, and Bill Mitchell has come in and he brings the truth out into, and all, I mean, we are hitting it in all levels. And I am honored to have the Tu Voz America, that I speak out to doing a Hispanic outreach. And this is exactly what we need to hear. We need to hear the truth. See, that's the thing about our president. Our president wasn't a status quo person. He spoke the truth. He messaged. We understood it. And that's why we voted for him.
I'll tell you what. No man has been more truthful in everything he says than President Trump.
Yes.
Nobody consistently says the things that make people uneasy. Why? Because sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah.
And when you had 8 years of consistent lies, 8 years of blatant obliteration of the truth, don't you think it's about time Americans start hearing the truth from their leader?
And it's hurting. It's hurting. It's like ripping Band-Aids. We're ripping Band-Aids all day long. Listen, his Twitter alone rips a Band-Aid every day because people aren't used to hearing the truth anymore. We've been lied to for so many years.
They don't like that. Never hear.
And the media.
We've been lied to for 8 years.
8 years.
Oh,
8 years.
Well, let me tell you.
And the media has adds to it.
The media is completely is a complete collusive tool of the Democrat Party and the progressive liberal ideology. And it's amazing how our enemies always use our freedoms against us, and they're doing that with the First Amendment and freedom of the press. They're using it against us. Just like the terrorists used our own freedoms to come in and attack us, the media is using our own freedoms to bring this country down.
I want to talk to you about something, because you talked about doing some outreach into our Hispanic communities. And I know that you've kind of come out in a not harsh, but you're direct. It's truths about the RNC or the GOPs and the establishment and all that. Okay, you've talked about that. But there is something I want you to know that I took part in this week. We kicked off a initiative here in Texas, but it's been happening in Florida. It's called Heal America 2018. And it's geared to pastors. It's geared to congregations. It's geared to our faith-based community. And what it is it's a program to go into the pastors or congregations, and you tell them, fast, pray. They have to choose one Sunday. Fast, pray, and tell their register voters, and then tell their congregations to vote biblical values. Simple as that. Simple as that. So that's an initiative that is going to be, bottled up, I should say. I'm not sure what the term is, but it's going to be supported by the RNC. What are your thoughts on that? Because I took part in it, and it was pretty phenomenal. So I got to tell you, maybe they're trying to get something right on one end. I don't know. Talk to me about that.
Well, look. First of all, let's just be perfectly clear. Yes, I'm a conservative, and right now, if the only conservative party out there is the Republican Party, well, then that's who I am. But what makes me sick what I'm very tired of is not seeing a unified support, a collective support for our brave president, and I'm sick of it. All right? Because you cannot deny that there are members, establishment, elitist members within this party that are 100% anti-Trump. You just heard what Trey Gowdy did today, didn't you, Bianca?
I haven't watched the news. Not today.
Oh, well, again,
what happened?
There's a man right there, Trey Gowdy, who, had Hillary right in front of him and let her get off scot-free. Trey Gowdy.
Trey Gowdy was on our side. What are you talking about?
Trey Gowdy, the truth. Trey Gowdy is what, today he came out and he pretty much said that
Luchador, I lost you there.
that was a mistake. We shouldn't have dropped him. All right. Now, why? Why? Because he's establishment. Why? Because he's part of what I call the kabuki theater, where they go up and they act as if they're doing something to keep getting money from the donors, to get people like you and I hoping something's going to happen, but in the end, it's kabuki.
But let me ask you this. You know that body bags seem to follow the Clintons. You don't think that they're like, maybe in fear of their life?
Well, I don't.
That's why our guys can't do anything? I mean, I don't know.
No.
What do you think?
What all of these establishment people fear is losing their power and losing their money. And that's all they fear. That's all they fear.
If you were sitting in front of our president today, if you had the opportunity to sit in front of our president, what would you advise him to do?
Number one, I would advise him to fire all of the establishment people he's got in his administration. All of them. Every single one. It's been proven time and time again that all of the leaks, that everybody who's giving all of these horrible things to say about our president are the establishment people that he trusted. Our president, you know what? Our president is just like, is an ordinary man.
Right.
So ordinary people trust, and they trust people. They choose to trust people first. But in politics, unfortunately, you have to distrust them first. And that's probably been his greatest mistake, is he trusted too many people. Thinking that they were going to be unified.
So all these people that you see exiting the White House, you think it's because they were part of the establishment and he trusted them and he mistrusted the wrong people? I mean, because there's a lot of people that are exiting, and they're all people that, they were his supporters.
Well, they were his supporters because I think they saw a winner. But then once they get into these roles, they go back into what they're there to do, and that's to disrupt his presidency. Because at their core, they were anti-Trump. At their core, they know that if they can just survive these 4 years, or even from their perspective, God forbid, 8 years, that the establishment will come roaring back. And so they have to maintain themselves as being partial to the establishment for their own survival. They think that Trump is just a blip on the radar, that in 4 years or 8 years, this too shall pass. Just like Reagan's presidency and that beautiful conservative message that he had, all of a sudden, what happened? It went away, didn't it? Right. It went away. So we have to understand what politics truly is.
Right.
Politics, unfortunately, you have to first distrust. And then you trust and verify. And what he's doing right now is he trusted, he can't verify, so he's getting rid of them. Excellent move. Surround yourself with those people that you know are loyal, but he's not looking. But this is the difference between Trump and Obama and Clinton. He's not looking for people that are loyal to him. He's looking for people that are loyal to America and our Constitution. And what a difference that is.
Right. That's why I love him so much. Because he's honest.
America
and he's
loves
delivering.
him.
Yeah, America
sees that true Americans see that this man loves our country, loves our military, and loves our Constitution.
But Luchador, if America loves him so much, why? He went and held a rally in Pennsylvania for our guy out there. And if America loves him so much, why didn't they show up? He won Pennsylvania by 20 points.
Because the unfortunately, the Republican Party is the lazy people party. They only come out to vote in presidential elections. They rarely come out to vote for anything else. And we can't continue to do that. I know at conservatives, we all have jobs. That's why we're conservative.
Yeah.
Okay? So we can't just hop on a bus and we can't be bought for a barbecue plate, okay?
Yeah.
Or a couple of tacos to go vote.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's
they do that.
All right?
Yeah.
Because you know they do that, all right? And
they have beer and tacos now.
Okay, beer and tacos,
at the Democrat. Oh yeah, the Democrats.
Absolutely. Beer
yeah.
and tacos, and then they throw in the Ripple in there every now and then.
Yeah.
Now, look, let me tell you something. But that's the problem with conservatives. They call us the lazy people party. But but we need to take 30 minutes out of our day and go vote. Between football practice, track practice, volleyball practice, cheerleading practice, soccer practice,
baseball,
between PTA meetings, baseball, bowling, I don't know all the things.
Everything that we do.
Everything. Take 30 minutes and go vote. I've done it, taking on my way to drop off my child, my kids at practice, or on the way home. But you got to do it in every election. Because guess what? The liberals, the progressive liberals know this. And this is why they hold the most important elections for establishing their base and their control at the local level. They always do them in the off years. That's when you have the school board elections. That's when you have the judge elections. Because once you control the courts and people's minds through education and the school boards, you control the country.
I know. We're trying to build a bench here in Texas with Hispanics that are we're trying to, our minorities, even our blacks and Asians. We're really encouraging our minorities to run for school board in their district. We're telling them, if you're conservative, there is no other way. Some of our Hispanics aimed a little high and they went and ran for congressional districts and things like that, but they've got to that's what the Democrats have done. They've taken hold of the local government. And then from the local government, they figured they could make their way up. And that's what they've been working on.
Look, politics is definitely it's not a top-down, it's a bottom-up power structure.
Yeah.
The local level is the most important offices, okay? They're the most important offices. Now, I'm going to say again something that's going to hurt. This is going to hurt.
Boy.
But you know why we can't win in Latino districts? You know why? Because we can't raise the money. Because Latinos don't give. They don't give.
They're true. Listen, también coyos. They don't like to. You're right. We don't give.
Yeah. We don't give. We don't tithe and we don't give. You want me to prove that? Let me tell you how I can prove that.
Prove it. How you gonna prove it? Give me some facts.
In these new Hispanic communities, in these communities where Hispanics are now the majority, they used to be white majority. Okay? Until you had the white flight. But when the whites lived in these neighborhoods, they tithed. They gave. All right? Even our Italian brothers and sisters in their neighborhoods, they tithed. They gave. Our Polish brothers and sisters in their neighborhoods, they tithed. They gave. Our Irish brothers and sisters in their neighborhoods, they tithed. They gave. That's why the Catholic schools were free. Because they supported the Catholic schools with their tithing. Their children went to these Catholic schools, these great institutions of learning where they were taught values for free. Then here come the Latinos. Here we come. And we don't tithe. We don't give. So these Catholic schools then have to charge. And our kids then have to go to the free school. And liberals saw that.
Yeah.
And they took over the school boards and they started indoctrinating our kids and not educating our kids.
I want to say something right there for all of our Latino listeners and Hispanics and anybody listening out there. I mean, it's true. It hurts, but it's true. We aren't giving back to our own communities. We aren't, and that's the truth. We can't rely on the Democrat Party to continue to enable us and give. We have to be the ones that take strong hold of our own communities. And he's right. They used to be, we as a Hispanic community need to give back, whether it's to our churches or to, as he says, you got to give back into your community so that we can thrive. And that's the only way we're going to do it. So that's some good advice there. I mean, we're not doing it, and that's why.
Bianca, it's one of the truths that has to be said.
I know.
It has to be said. In my own, even in in the communities where I grew up, when those neighborhoods were predominantly Anglo, the Catholic schools were free because they were supported by the tithing of the community. Then the Latinos took over, and the tithing stopped, and these Catholic schools and these private schools had started charging.
And it's gone. Listen, the tuition isn't cheap.
It's not.
It used to be, I don't know, whatever it was, 1,000, what maybe, and now it's like you got these Catholic schools are like 25,000 a year.
Well, again, these are just facts, and they're sad facts, but they need to be said, and we need to change ourselves because all we're doing is we're leading our kids down the path to relive the exact same ideology that our parents and grandparents left. We're going to create a Venezuela here. Yeah. We're going to create a Nicaragua here. We're going to create a Cuba here because we don't get involved, we don't give, and unfortunately, we're just too damn apathetic.
Wow.
And we rely on everybody else to do things for us. In the political spectrum. We're great for taking care of ourselves. We're great for taking care of our families. Yeah. We're great for taking care of our children. But when it comes to what really matters for the continuity of these things, we leave it to somebody else.
Right. We got to change that. We got to do something to change it. We do. Luchador, wow, what a segment today with you. I'm so excited that you came on the show and you agreed to come on.
Thank you.
It means a lot to me. And I hope that we can make this a monthly visit from you, Luchador. You're always going to bring us some insight from that DC swamp-infested area. I hope that we can bring you back on, like I said, on a monthly basis or something. We got to work something out. I want to thank you for joining us. And so I want to leave some time here for my brother out in California, Harim, and we're going to talk to him next on the show. So Luchador, hang tight, keep digging, keep getting that intel, and bring it to Tu Voz America so that we know what we got to do for 2018 and 2020. Let's start putting our heads together, bringing the message out so that we as Latinos and Hispanics can really start. We're courageous, but we got to go to the next level, right? In the state of Texas, we have 11.4 Latinos. 5.4 are registered to vote, but only 1.3 to 1.8 show up, and that's on a general election. That is sad. It's sad. We're not showing up to the polls. So we gotta do better. We do. And if we're conservative, we care about this country, we have to do better. So Luchador, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. Folks, I hope you come back and join me with Harim Uzil out in California. But Luchador, peace to you. Hang in there and keep on doing and keep on wrestling through all that swamp out there.
Thank you so much, Bianca. And come on, no rope or dope. Get off the rope and get involved.
That's right. Thank you, Luchador. We'll see you next time.
All right, Bianca. Thank you. Bye.
Welcome back, everybody, to Tu Voz America.